Joining us right now, Quentin Kidd. He knows where the bodies are buried in Virginia. Professor of Political Science and Chair of the Department of Government and Director of the Wason Center. Is that pronounced Wason Center? Is that right? For Public Policy at Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia. Quentin Kidd, it's a hell of an intro. Welcome.
Good to meet you. Good morning.
So we got Jennifer Wexton and John Whitbeck going head-to-head here. We have a third candidate here, May, his name is. But
Joe May.
Joe
May, independent.
Running as an independent because he couldn't win the Republican nomination there. Listen, this Wexton ad seems to be getting a lot of oxygen because she got a bunch of money from the Democratic National Committee. Here's a portion of it that's getting a lot of energy.
I'm Jennifer Wexton, and as a prosecutor, I put violent offenders in prison. In the Virginia Senate, I'll fight just as hard against Tea Party Republicans who would take away a woman's health care and her right to choose, even in cases of rape and incest.
Wow, yeah, that's enough of that. So we had her on yesterday at the Drive at 5 in the afternoon, and I said, listen, why are you comparing Tea Party Republicans to sex offenders? She said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. John Whitbeck, though, the Republican in the race, he was also on, and this was his reaction.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate ad, and it's very indicative of the shrill, angry politics that we've seen out of that campaign, and very unfortunate. But the good news is it's fired up our base and really got our people excited about this race to vote for us. And so, it's actually been a net positive for our campaign that she would go to that extreme.
All right, Quentin Kidd. So I've laid it out there from where you're sitting. What do you think? Is this actually a net positive, and the base is fired up to help Whitbeck win this seat?
Well, the Democrats have made a calculation. Wexton has made a calculation that in a special election where turnout is likely to be really low, and today throws a wrench in all that, to have women energized by an ad like that or by a campaign like that will actually be enough to tip the balance. And I think Whitbeck and the Republicans hope that there's enough of a backlash to that that it counteracts whatever benefit she would get from running an ad like that, campaign like that, and that they would get a little bit of a bounce enough to win the election. There are a couple of wrenches here, a couple of big question marks. What effect does Joe May have? To what extent do Joe May committed voters turn out to vote today? And to what extent do people who are already not that committed to vote not vote because of the weather? So there's a lot of slipperiness and unknowns in this election.
Yeah. So what's your sense of it? I mean, if there is extremely low voter turnout because of the weather, who do you think ultimately benefits from that?
Well, because there are essentially two Republicans in the race, Joe May says that he'll caucus with Republicans if he wins. Because there are two Republicans in the race, they may split the vote enough where Wexton can win by a small margin. And in the other special election that we had in Virginia, the one in the 6th Senate District to replace Ralph Northam, we're in recount territory in that race, and the winner won by less than 10 votes. So we could be in a situation where we have two special elections, in both cases within recount territory. This is like the November 2013 election that won't end.
Can we talk about this Joe May independent run for a minute? Because, after all was said and done, it turned out that Robert Sarvis, who ran as a libertarian in the governor's race, he ended up getting a lot of financing from some Democratic donors. And cynically speaking, they were trying to split that anti-McAuliffe vote. Is it possible Joe May is also getting funded by some Democrats who want to split the anti-Democrat vote?
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Robert Sarvis got got funding from an out-of-state source. We won't know. Joe May hasn't publicly reported, at least it's not showing up on any public disclosure list of where he's getting his money from. But it very well could be the case, because we could be in a situation here where the Republican vote, the conservative vote, is split between May and Whitbeck, and Wexton wins by just a small amount.
Wow.
And if that's the case, then Republicans have to figure out how to get through a primary without an independent then emerging and running in a general election, or this stuff will continue in the next few years.
All right, of course, it's the obvious thing, but I mean, in play here is the Senate. How are the politics shaping up there?
Well, if Wexton wins, and if Linwood Lewis's lead in the 6th Senate District holds, then it'll be a tied Senate 2020. Ralph Northam would break the tie as a Democrat in favor of Democrats. But the the Senate rules are set once every 4 years. And so the Senate rules were set 2 years ago when Republicans were in control. So Republicans say the rules were set and they are what they are. Democrats say, well, if we have a 2020 tie and there's a Democratic lieutenant governor, we're going to change the rules. So I expect if Wexton wins and Linwood Lewis's win holds, that there's going to be a fight over the rules in the Virginia Senate midway through a session when everybody is concerned about getting a budget.
So like Harry Reid,
Yeah.
in Virginia.
Well, this is fascinating. So what you're saying is the state Senate sets their rules during off years when there isn't a gubernatorial election, and has it never occurred before that the lieutenant governor, that tie-breaking vote, changes while the Senate is deadlocked between the two parties?
Not in modern history. We're in new territory here. And so if Democrats attempt to change the rules mid-session, then that's going to be new and modern Senate history in Virginia, and it'll create a fight like I think we haven't seen in Virginia in quite a while.
Let's just zoom out a little bit, and this Senate district encompassing part of Fairfax and part of Loudoun County, it seems to be so indicative of what's going on in North Virginia right now. How are the tides turning here? Because we're also looking at the congressional race for the vacated seat of Frank Wolf. This had been reliably Republican territory. What is the demographic looking like now?
Well, where this district is, the Leesburg, Dulles, it's mostly a Loudoun County district, parts of northern Fairfax County. It's right on the line of where the change is happening right now. I mean, it's an exurb district that is essentially becoming more purple. Democrats feel really emboldened by it. Republicans feel like this is where they have to make a stand. I think this special Senate race is indicative of the kind of fight that we're going to have over Frank Wolf's over the congressional race, because it's a lot of it's the same territory. I expect both parties to slug it out in the congressional race to replace Frank Wolf like they have in this special Senate race.
All right, and listen, we will have you back, certainly, Quentin Kidd, to talk about that race as well. But today, on the plate is this 33rd district. It's going to be very interesting to watch. We will cover it, of course, here at WMAL and on WMAL.com.
Quentin, thanks a lot. Good stuff.
All right. Good election day.
Hey.